Assalamualaikum. My name is Fakhrul Dini Bin Mohammad Rapidi. I'm from 22A. I'm 21 years old. I live in Alustar, Kedah. I'm a Malay and I was born in Alustar, Kedah. Now I will talk about cross-cultural interview analysis. Now we see about introduction. I was assigned to carry out tasks related to cross-cultural studies. Therefore, I have conducted research by interviewing several people of different backgrounds and cultures. Among the groups I choose to make this study a success are those who are mirroring Chinese, Indian, Iban, and Bugis. Here I will briefly introduce the person I interview. Among them is the first Miss Sophie, 22 years old, a mirroring ethnic. My second respondent, Mr. Vasan, 21 years old, come from the Indian race. Next, I'll also choose Ms. Zingru, is 21 years old and is Chinese. In addition, I have also choose people from the Iban ethnic group known as Cristela, 23 years old. Next, I also got respondent from the Bugis culture, namely Mr. Kai, who is 21 years old. I interview my respondent online through the Telegram application, where I send all the questions that I had prepared to each person message. This is because all my respondents have commitment and do not have much time. If I want to conduct this interview session live like Google Meet and others. Okay, now we see to analysis of culture dimension. The culture dimension is referred to various aspects or elements that form and influence the culture of a group, of a people, society, or nation. This is said to be so because it refers to value, symbol, language, and various other elements that will describe the way of life of a community group. Through this cultural dimension, it can, to some extent, help someone in understanding cultural differences between different human groups, as well as being able to explain how a culture can influence social interaction, policies, and individual action in society. The first one is low or high power distance. The meaning of power distance refers to the extent to which a culture expect and accept that power is unequally distributed in society. Based on the research I have conducted, I have been able to identify several factors related to the low or high power distance. If we look at based on the workplace, we can see that for the Malays, Chinese, Indian, Miring, Bugis, and Iban, I find they are more inclined toward low power distance. This is said because based on my research, the Malays, Chinese, and Bugis do not care about hierarchy in life. This is said because they have a hierarchy, but they care more about equal right for everyone. It's different from the Indian, the Iban ethnic group, and the Midring. This is said to be so because this race and ethnicity are more inclined toward high power distance. This refers to them being more likely to get approval from their superiors when they want to make a decision. The second is individualism versus collectivism. Individualism and collectivism refer to a dimension used to understand the difference between a certain culture and how a society or individual places values on themselves and society. Based on the research I have conducted, I have been able to identify that there are some races and ethnicities they are more inclined to individualism and collectivism. Races like Chinese, Bugis, Indians, and Malays, like me, belong to the individualism group. This is said to be so because this group is more concerned with personal goals and achievement that they will pursue. It is also different from the Miring and Iban ethnic groups. Based on my observation, I have identified where these two ethnicities they are more inclined toward collectivism. This is emphasized because they are care more about the needs and goals of their society than the goals of the individual himself. The third is masculinity versus femininity. Masculinity and femininity refer to cultural dimensions that are used to explain and understand how different societies and cultures define and value the traits, roles, and behaviors associated with being masculine or feminine. Masculinity refers to assertiveness, competition, and success. This masculine culture also often prioritize career success, achievement, and individualism. Based on the research I have conducted among the races categorized in this masculinity group are Chinese, Indians, and Bugis. This is said because based on my understanding, they are very fond of competing with each other to gain some success. Then about femininity, different also from femininity. This femininity refers to empathize on harmony and maintaining the nature of the relationship. They also prioritize work-life balance, social welfare, and quality of life. This refers to the Iban and Miring ethnic groups. The fourth is about uncertainty and avoidance cultural dimension, introduced by Gate Hosford. This dimension focuses on how different society and culture deal with and respond to uncertainty, ambiguity, and the unknown in various aspects of life, including work, decision making, and regulation. Based on the research that has been conducted, I have identified where all the respondents that I have interviewed on average are tied to their respective custom. This is said to be so because they will refer to something that happened or something that happened with their respective custom. This is said because, for example, when the country was hit by COVID-19 virus, there were a few people who did not take a vaccine. They preferred to take traditional medicine. For the last factor is long-term orientation. Long-term orientation is focused on how different society and culture view time, plan for the future, and value long term commitment and tradition over short-term goals and immediate gratification. I had identified that each race that I have studied, including the Chinese, Indians, Bugis, Iban, and Miring, all in their respective custom has a long-term plans to ensure that each custom and culture they are not swallowed up by time. Okay, now we will look to impact on cross-cultural management. Through the research I conduct based on the interview I conducted, certain cultures are able to have cultural impact on management in a business or organizational context. There are several factors based on cultural management in both business and organizational aspect. Based on the interview, when everyone can understand the culture of their colleges, they will be able to develop a respect for each other's cultures. In addition, through this activity, it can reduce the rate of conflict that occur between employees. Besides that, it can also foster a spirit of helping each others in the organization regardless of race or ethnicity. We go to practical implication. The practical implications that have been identified can reduce cultural misunderstandings. This is said because cross-cultural management can reduce misunderstanding and conflict that will occur from cultural differences. Then we go to potential challenges. There are several potential challenges. Among the potential challenges are communication barriers. This is said because every culture and ethnicity has its own language and communication style. When an organization has employees from different races and ethnicities, it has a high risk of conflict between employees of different cultures and background. We go to provide recommendation or strategies for managing cross-cultural differences. Every organization must do some activities that involve of employees doing activities together. In addition, is with great effective communication between different races or ethnicities so that they can work as a team. We go to personal reflection. Through this study, I have also learned more deeply about the culture and ethnicity that I have interviewed. It has somewhat opened my mind about the culture and ethnicity found in Malaysia. Every race or ethnicity found in Malaysia should be respected by everyone regardless of skin color, religion, race, and ethnicity because every culture and ethnicity has interesting characteristics that can be explored by the community out there. Okay, so For the conclusion, I have explored to some extent the wealth of cultural diversity found in Malaysia through interview sessions with individuals from different racial and ethnic backgrounds. The study has revealed some insight and findings related to the cross-cultural dimension and has some implication for management, as well as practical implication and potential challenges. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.